Now I'm going to welcome Martina Pugliese, who is a research data scientist for Inscribe AI, and the title of your talk is Data Science is for Everyone. Thank you.
So hello everybody. Car's talk was amazing. I hope I can keep up the quality. We'll see. My talk is more about, Stephen came to me and asked, could you talk about your career? And I always think, why are people interested so much in my career? But if I can give people some, not advice, but the idea that data science is actually a field not just for PhD people like me and Cara, but it's actually something that we need more people, more variety, more diversity overall. So please, enter this field, approach it, and just try things out. All right, so who am I first? Why am I here? What do I want? As Ali was saying, I currently work as a senior research scientist at a startup called Inscribe. But I have been doing a bunch of stuff beforehand. So first of all, I study physics. So I come from the so-called hard sciences, which is a term I don't really like because there's no such thing as hard sciences or soft sciences, I think. There's culture, there's science, and everything is interesting. So I did a PhD in physics. So here you go, but I've also studied some linguistics, which I find it extremely fascinating. And so with the tools of physics, I've been analyzing the evolution of natural language, so how we talk and how natural language changes in time, specifically looking at English. At the time, this was a while ago, I'm not going to tell you how long ago, but it was a while ago. NLP was kind of in its infancy, so these days you can do all these fancy things with LLMs, and the field has been exploding in the last few years. But at the time, we didn't even have good data to analyze the progression and the trends in language. So this is just a plot that I pulled from my PhD thesis, which will tell you basically that some verbs in English have become irregular in time. Something like hide, irregular in the past tense, so they have a past tense that doesn't end in ed. But some verbs stayed regular and some verbs became regular as well. A verb like dwell, which I'm not sure, dwelled or dwelt would be the past tense, oscillates in time. So each bubble here is a decade. This is the corpus of historical American English. At the time, it was the only large corpus of text that you could use to do language analysis, and we had to do all of these fancy things like OCR and machine learning to classify what was a past tense, what was an adjective. So this is just my start into the world, the fantastic world of ML. And then I worked mostly for startups. I started with a company called Molzida that became This Is Unfolded, and it's an Edinburgh-based company. Worked in fashion, wore many hats, built a team, and started doing more management then. Then I worked at Testcard, another company based in England, but they had a dev team here in Edinburgh doing computer vision. So I started doing fancy things that I keep doing to this day. And also built a team, led a team. We got Delphine here who will tell you that she was in my team back then, and so she still loves me, so that's probably a good sign. You can tell people, I'm not going to say how good I was. And recently worked at Shopify as well, so a large organization, and doing more canonical data science, working in the revenue team, helping the company acquire more deals, analyze merchants churn and all these things. And recently moved, it's been a month, at a company called Inscribe AI, where I do ML, AI, data science, mostly in the field of computer vision. But stressing the point that I do acknowledge my luck and my privilege. We all know that women, as well as other groups, are not so well represented in the world of data science and probably especially AI or tech in general. I think it's getting better. Definitely initiatives like this help. So my main message tonight will be, you don't need a PhD. You don't need to be, this fancy genius that people think we are. We're not. We make a lot of mistakes, lots of failures. Data science has to be, in my opinion, something for everybody, because the only way to make this field fairer. Like AI is amazing. There's lots of things that you could do. I saw the stickers, where is it? Support or replace, one of them. You can do lots of things. It can help you. We all use it, I guess, but there's lots of issues with it, ethical issues that mostly stem out of the fact that it's not every group is represented, and the humanity side of it, like literally the human side of what data do we feed the system with, has not been fully addressed yet. So my message is everybody should do more data science, everybody should go into AI, and just to help the field becoming more more fair. So I love this quote. I put it in most of my slides. If you look at my slides deck that I go online, it's probably there all the time. The keyword in data science is not data, it is science, because we can focus on the data part. Like back in 10 years ago, it was all about big data, and people thought that just the quantity will solve all the issues. Then it turns out that the quantity doesn't mean necessarily quality. So you still need to think, and you still need to think like a human, and so we still need the human brain. AI is not there yet. It's starting to help us kind of address some of the most menial tasks, but these systems are, to this day, still need the human to be trained and to be deciding again what data do we feed them with, which is the important part. Garbage in, garbage out. So in terms of AI, I mostly work in computer vision. So back in the days, I was saying I worked in NLP, natural language processing, when I was at uni. That was in its infancy, and kind of that field exploded in the last couple of years. But my work has been mostly in computer vision. This is a graph, a plot, a visualization from what I was doing, working in fashion, trying to recognize what's top or what's the bottom in terms of clothing. I think Delphine is laughing because she remembers that. We had to tag lots of images for training this system, and so the machine, eventually we did get to a good system, but as you can see, it was still getting it wrong. On the left you got the prediction from our neural network, and on the right this was the ground truth. So in this case, just to illustrate that you can see footwear when there is no footwear. On the bottom, because I needed, I just was playing around with stuff. This was me going to a museum. It's in Atlanta. There's the Coca-Cola Museum. If you happen in Atlanta and you have 2 hours to spare, I wouldn't say it's the best museum ever, but it's worth a visit. There's better stuff in Atlanta. There's lots of interesting stuff. But anyway, teaching a machine to recognize bottles, and so you can teach a network to see bottles even on when it's like a visualization, an image, and not an actual bottle. So these days, this was actually, when was that, Delphine? A few years ago, 5 years ago or something? So today we got more and more commoditized tooling, and you can do these things much, much quicker, actually. But I believe in a world where, again, we need more diverse players. So I like to, if I can pass this message, because I've been extremely lucky, I have. I didn't suffer from any outright discrimination, although we all know that there is discrimination, under the hood. But I have been privileged. There's lots of people that haven't been as privileged as I am. And I think the only way to change that is to have more people enter this field and push and just trying to understand things from first principle, fail fast, and learn. So then again will be my message. What do I do at night? Not really at night, mostly at weekends, to be honest. At night I like to sleep. I need to probably get Cara to teach me a few things, but I also do some data visualizations, because why not? I do data by day, and then, I'm not tired of data. I just also do it in my free time. So I have a newsletter and a blog. It's called Doodling Data. What I do, I create data visualizations by hand. I literally draw them, pick up some public data sets, or I source my own data sets and try to create funky data vises, as I call them. Sometimes they are on a serious topic, like we live in the 6 mass extinctions. This was from a paper. It's obviously related to the topic of climate change. We humans have killed lots of species. We killed lots of biodiversity. Our coral loss has been decreasing almost for 50% in the last, 3 decades or something. So I do these kind of things to try to teach myself, learn, and just enjoy. The EU, European Union of Working Women, you can see the percentage of the workforce that is women in each European country. This data is old, and that's actually why the UK is there, because this is the EU, so this is before, I think it's 2017. But let's not start on that. But yeah, you see countries like, I'm Italian, you see countries like Italy, which have a fairly low percentage of women that could work, that actually are in work. Southern Europe is not faring that great. On the bottom, you probably can't see very well, but this is a timeline of human epidemics or pandemics, like HIV or COVID, classified as pandemics. Of course, the bubble will be the estimated number in history. The farther you go back in time, the less reliable this data is. But there's lots of pathogens that can kill us. And one of my favorites is colors, in this case Renoir, Impressionist painter. I was just looking at all the images from Renoir's painting I could download online. I think it was Wikipedia page, and I was analyzing what percentage of color you see in each of these paintings, and you see that there's a lot of oranges and reds, but also a bunch of greens and blues, because he drew in open air, you know, the Impressionism. And if you do this with other painters, I did Caravaggio. Very different story, because it's mostly religious subjects. So yeah, this is me. I did recently a live with Talk Python, which is a podcast, because I was asked to talk about these databases. I don't think they are perfect. So again, Cara could teach me a few things, especially about the use of color and things, because I try to learn. But this is me saying I'm not a database expert. I just try to learn, and these are the good ones. There's a lot of failed ones, which I'm not ashamed of putting out online anyway. I'm getting some feedback. I think it's useful. So yeah, thanks to everybody. Special thanks to Vasily Kandinsky for furnishing the pictures here. I'm sure he loves to be quoted. And yeah, any questions, grab me or pick me on LinkedIn or whatever social.
Thank you so much. Big round of applause.